Single mom's last five for bread, then a CEO unexpectedly steps in to change everything forever. Karen stood in line at the rundown grocery store, her heart racing. 5 crumpled dollars clenched in her fist felt like weighing anchors, not enough for the warm meal she wanted for her kids, Lily and Noah. Just a loaf of bread, she thought, the crusty kind that would fill their bellies. The bright, fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, and the chatter of shoppers faded into an echo. She felt so alone, though the line snaked behind her, filled with people living their own dramas. Her chest tightened as she glanced at the cashier, a stern-faced woman who hardly looked up. It was one of those moments. The kind that threatened to crush her spirit. But desperation can ignite determination. Karen had done this countless times before, working 2 jobs as a waitress and a cleaner just to keep the lights on. Every late-night shift spilled over into mornings filled with mom duties, but she couldn't let her kids feel the weight of their circumstances. They deserved better. Not today, she mentally warned herself, willing the tears to stay put. But then she overheard snippets of hopeful conversations around her. Talks of local businesses giving back to the community, of people trying to lift each other up. A flicker of belief ignited within her. Maybe, just maybe, something could change. That's when Alex entered, appearing like a beacon of opportunity. The CEO of the new tech company in the neighborhood, he exuded confidence, laughter spilling from his lips as his presence turned heads. He walked right by her, but paused. Something in Karen's expression caught him, a quiet strength beneath a mask of weariness. In one unexpected moment, he wandered toward her and asked the cashier to cover her groceries. "Just for today," he said, glancing at Karen, his voice warm. "I want to help." It all felt so surreal. She had been prepared to walk out with nothing, and now she was offered a chance. With a quivering smile and a heavy dose of disbelief, she accepted. "Thank you," she barely managed to say, the relief washing over her like a tidal wave. He introduced himself, eyes earnest, promising to help Karen navigate the complexities of her financial struggles. For the first time, she allowed herself to imagine a different life. But within days, that hope twisted into a new resolve. She took Alex's guidance, she even considered furthering her education, but bitter whispers began to sink in from her neighbors. "She's just taking handouts, they say." The community she had thought would rally around her seemed to hold her back, chains of judgment weighing her down, even as she was fighting to break free. A few weeks later, she thought she was on the verge of something bright. A small investment opportunity presented itself but floundered in the harsh realities of her world. The crushing blow of failure twisted within her heart. A knock brought her back to the present, shifting her focus toward a community gathering meant to celebrate local success stories. She stood amidst a crowd buzzing with anticipation, her fear creeping in like shadows. Could she share her journey? Or would they haunt her with just a single mom? She caught sight of Alex again, their eyes locking briefly, the tension of their contrasting worlds hanging heavily between them. Before they knew it, the evening rolled into poignant moments, revealing shared struggles and dreams. They were forced to confront their biases, the questions of belonging hanging above like storm clouds. Could they find a way to stitch their disparate lives together? As they both pondered the weight of their interactions, Karen felt the crowd's gaze, hope mingling with uncertainty. Would she rise to meet this crossroad, or remain behind those judgments? Hearts pounded, not just for her, but for what was yet to unfold. The energy in the room crackled, a collective pulse of expectation hanging in the air. Karen felt it deep in her bones. She stood rooted, flanked by the chatter of hopeful entrepreneurs and local heroes basking in the warmth of their accomplishments. Her heart pounded, each beat reminding her of that moment at the grocery store, of Alex stepping in, a stranger-turned lifeline, but now, faced with the gathering, she felt small again. The bitterness of her neighbors' whispers curled like smoke around her, just a single mom. She took a deep breath, closing her eyes for a second. Could she push through the fear and show the world the strength she barely felt? Lily's laughter mingled with Noah's cheerful chatter echoed in her mind, reminding her why she was here, to fight for a better future for them. She glanced around the room, taking in the faces. Each shared a story, an overcoming, an aspiration. And yet, right now, her voice felt trapped beneath the weight of judgment and doubt. Alex stood at the front, his charisma lighting up the space as he spoke passionately about community and upliftment. "Together, we rise," he said, his voice steady and bold. Karen's heart clenched. He truly meant it. But would he understand her struggles in ways that matter? Could he see past her barriers and insecurities to the person she wanted to become? Karen. The name echoed around her, breaking through the haze of her thoughts. It was Alex, gesturing for her to join him at the front. "Come share your journey. We'd love to hear from you." The crowd's attention switched to her, anticipation mixed with curiosity. Panic surged, a fire igniting in her chest. The murmurs of doubt rose like a wave threatening to crash. What if they see me as just another statistic? Just a mom seeking handouts? But another voice whispered, "What if you inspire someone? What if your story makes a difference?" Her feet moved before her mind could catch up. Karen stepped forward, each stride both exhilarating and terrifying. As she reached the front, she could feel their eyes on her, waiting. A shy smile broke through the anxiety. "Hello everyone. I'm Karen." The words slipped out, shaking at first, but slowly building momentum. "I never thought I'd be here. Just a few weeks ago, I was struggling to provide for my kids." She paused, glancing toward the crowd. "I felt so weighed down, judging myself as just a single mom. But thanks to someone who believed in me, someone who reached out when I needed help, I'm here to share that we can all find our strength, no matter how lost we might feel." Light applause started, a gentle encouragement that sent warmth through her. Karen's heartbeat steadied, and she continued. "As we share our stories, I realize we all have our battles, our moments of falling down. But if we support each other instead of tearing each other down, we can rise together." The room felt alive with energy, claps rising like a tide. And in that moment, Karen felt uplifted. She took a breath, her heart singing despite the anxiety. Alex nodded, his expression proud, silently affirming that what she was doing mattered. Then, a voice in the crowd broke the atmosphere. "Who do you think you are?" The words dripped with disdain. A charity case. Chills ran down her spine. Self-doubt threatened to engulf her. Would this unravel everything? Would she crumble into the shadows, drowning in the judgments she worked so hard to overcome? Feeling her resolve falter, Karen stood rooted, the weight of the moment heavy. But deep inside, she felt a flicker of the strength she had fought to find. Would she allow this moment to take her down, or would she rise and defy the odds? As she looked out into the eyes of the crowd, she realized it was time to embrace the true power of her story, not just for herself, but for everyone watching. The air felt electric, and the room held its breath, waiting for her next words. Would she take a stand, or would she slip back into the shadows? "Who do you think you are?" The words echoed in her mind, ricocheting off the walls like a gunshot. The room seemed to shrink, the air thickening with tension. Karen stood frozen, heart racing, her body on autopilot. Did they think this was a pity party? Did they really see her as just a statistic, a charity case? But then something shifted within her. Images of Lily and Noah flooded her senses, their laughter, their hopeful eyes, the way they clung to her in their moments of uncertainty. She had to fight for them, for what they deserved. Her voice started to rise above the whispers. "I am a single mom," she proclaimed, her tone laced with unexpected fervor. "I am battling every single day to make ends meet, but I refuse to be ashamed of it. I refuse to let anyone define my worth by my circumstances." The palpable change in her voice caught the crowd off guard. People shifted in their seats, some nodding along, and a few grimaced at the sting of her words. The tension in the room transformed into curiosity, then support. Karen took a deep breath, steadying herself as the faint applause echoed in the background, a whisper that grew louder, emboldening her. "I am more than my struggles," she continued, the passion igniting with every word. I am the voice of so many who feel invisible. This stage isn't just for my story, it's a recognition of all the single parents, all the ones who fight for their children day in and day out. A flicker of something powerful danced in the air. She scanned the room, locking eyes with Alex, who wore a look of complete admiration. We need to learn to lift each other up, she said, her voice now commanding yet intimate. Community is about understanding, helping one another rise from our lowest points. And then she felt it a connection. She saw nods of agreement, glimmers of hope in her audience. This was not a battle against her doubts anymore, it was a collective push toward something greater. Together we can create change, she urged, her voice resonating through the space. We can redefine success. It's not about the paycheck, it's about the love we share, the values we instill in our children. It's about allowing ourselves to be vulnerable enough to seek help when needed. The room erupted into applause, waves of support washing over Karen. She pressed forward, catching her breath as she held up her hands to silence the crowd. I refuse to be ashamed of asking for help. I want us all to be brave enough to reach out when we're struggling. Because it's those very struggles that shape us, that remind us why we fight. The voice from before seemed to fade, the judgment lost beneath the weight of her words. Karen's heart swelled, each beat the echo of hard-won resilience. As the crowd erupted into further applause, she felt a shift. A weight that had once anchored her down was now lifting, her spirit rising. She felt strong, unstoppable even. But just as she thought she could ride the wave of this moment into a new dawn, another voice, quieter but insistent, cut through the applause. But what if they never really see you for who you are, Karen? What if you still feel like just a single mom, despite everything? The question lingered, a ghostly shadow haunting her victory. A part of her sat back, gripped with fear once more. Would she ever truly believe in the worth she was fighting for? Or would the shadow of her past forever lurk behind her? That question hung in the air, thick and heavy. Karen's heart raced again, the weight of both possibility and doubt crashing all around her. Would she be brave enough to continue finding the strength within? Would she dare step into the future that waited beyond the doubts? The applause began to fade, but a spark still flickered within Karen. She could feel the energy in that room, like a current running through her veins. As she stood there, her heart pounded with mixed emotions, hope intertwined with lingering doubt. Suddenly, the bright lights that had cast her in such glory felt blinding. She squinted, searching for clarity through the haze. Then she spotted someone moving through the crowd. It was Alex, his face full of determination. He stepped forward, breaking through the cheers, his brow furrowed with concern. "Karen!" he called out, his voice sharp against the fading applause. He reached her side, and she could see the worry in his eyes. "That was incredible, but are you okay?" She nodded, swallowing hard. "I need some time to process this. It's just a lot." "You poured your heart out," he said. "And that was so brave. But just remember, standing up here isn't the end of the battle. It's just the beginning." His words hung in the air, but the other voice, that nagging voice of doubt, echoed in her mind. Was she still just a single mom? Would the world ever see her beyond that label? "Karen," he continued, sensing her hesitation, "you inspired so many people tonight. You won't be seen as just a single mom anymore. You're a voice. You've sparked something in them." The warmth spread through her, Alex's confidence igniting the flicker of hope within. She smiled weakly, but the shadows of insecurity still loomed over her like a thundercloud. "I know it's a small step, but what if it doesn't last? What if tomorrow brings all those doubts back?" She confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex took a breath, looking deeply into her eyes. "You've already changed your narrative tonight. You fought for your kids. That's huge. Just remember, you're not alone in this fight anymore." The murmurs of support from the crowd resumed, filling the atmosphere with promise. Each clap, each cheer felt like a lifeline tugging at her spirit. But as she turned to face the audience again, the heaviness of the lingering question twisted in her gut. People will always have opinions, she muttered, almost to herself. And what if I never live up to their expectations? Before Alex could respond, a familiar figure popped up at the edge of the crowd. It was Claire, her neighbor, and she rushed forward, her expression full of excitement. Karen. That was the most empowering speech. We need to get this out to more people. Can I help you set up something bigger? Claire's enthusiasm was infectious. Karen opened her mouth to respond, but the sound of wheels rolling on the floor caught her attention. An older gentleman, full of poise in a tailored suit, approached. She recognized him immediately. Mr. Harrington, the CEO of a local foundation that supported underprivileged families. Her heart leaped. Ms. Jackson, he said, his deep voice steady and reassuring, your words resonate deeply with our mission. I would like to speak with you about ways we can collaborate. Karen's breath caught in her chest. His sudden appearance felt like a plot twist, something straight out of a movie. What do you mean? Your vision of community support aligns perfectly with our initiative, Mr. Harrington explained. Together, we can create a program that addresses these very issues you spoke of. I want to help make it a reality. Her mind raced. This was the chance she hadn't dared to dream of. But the doubt still lingered, nudging at her. Was she truly capable of leading such a change? Let us discuss this further. I'll have my assistant contact you, Mr. Harrington added with a warm smile before stepping away, leaving Karen standing there, teetering between disbelief and hope. As Claire continued to brainstorm ideas, Karen felt a wave of emotions crash over her. She was standing on the precipice of something monumental. But what if she failed? What if the world still saw her through the narrow lens of her circumstances? With Alex's steady gaze holding hers and Claire's excited chatter drifting into the background, Karen knew this was a moment she couldn't let slip away. She inhaled deeply, drawing courage from the warmth around her. Can I really do this? She asked herself, the question spilling out like an echo in the chaos. As the crowd around her surged with renewed energy, one thing became certain: this moment was just the beginning of her story. But was she brave enough to take that leap? What lay beyond the courage she had just found? The answer felt tantalizing and terrifying all at once. The room hummed with a different kind of energy now. People were leaning in, intent on Karen, as if sensing the scale of the moment. Faces flickered with supportive smiles, and she felt their hope strumming against her heartbeat, an orchestra of encouragement surrounding her. Karen, we can reach out to local schools and community centers, Claire suggested, her enthusiasm bubbling over. You could host workshops, get families involved. There's a lot we can do together. Karen felt herself swept away in Claire's zeal, buoyed by the idea that her voice could lead to tangible change. But just as quickly, the tiny voice of doubt crept back in. Could she really be a catalyst for such change? What if no one shows up? Karen murmured, suddenly feeling exposed again. Then we'll reach out to them. We'll make them want to show up. Claire countered, her eyes sparkling with determination. You have to believe that your story is worth sharing. Karen blinked, finding strength in Claire's unwavering resolve. Alex stepped closer, resting a hand on her shoulder. You've already changed lives tonight, including mine, he said softly. You just need to keep believing in yourself. Everybody else will catch up. The warmth of his words wrapped around her, stirring the embers of her courage. But as the chatter intensified, another thought nagged at her. Would she be able to sustain this newfound energy when faced with daily challenges? Hey, Alex interrupted her spiraling thoughts, wanna take a quick breather? Let us grab some air outside. Karen nodded, grateful for an escape into the crisp night. They slipped out the side door, and the cool breeze hit her face in refreshing waves. The quiet of the night contrasted sharply with the vibrancy behind them. Look at you, Alex said, leaning against the wall. You've already made an impression on so many people. What is stopping you from keeping that momentum going? Taking a deep breath, she looked up at the stars twinkling above. I guess I'm just scared of failing, of disappointing everyone who is depending on me. Trust me, Karen. The first step is always the hardest. His voice softened. But no one can take away what you've already accomplished. You've made people feel something tonight, a connection. That's priceless. With those words, a flicker of defiance ignited in her gut. Maybe she was meant to do more than just share her story, she could help others write their own. Okay, she finally said, a sense of clarity washing over her. I'm ready to give this a shot. But it's a big undertaking. What if I can't keep up? Then we tackle it together, one step at a time, he assured her, just like you've raised your kids. Feeling lighter, Karen smiled, the weight of her uncertainty beginning to shift. She could hear Claire's laughter and the applause trickling out from the event behind them. Let us go back, she said, determination threading through her voice. I want to start brainstorming ideas. I want to help families like mine feel seen and supported. As they entered the buzzing atmosphere, Karen's heart raced with excitement. She could be someone people turned to for help. Perhaps being a single mom didn't have to define her after all. Maybe it could fuel her journey in ways she never anticipated, but just as that thought settled, a chill rushed through her. What if the obstacles outweighed the support? What if she couldn't pull it all together? Was she truly ready to face the scrutiny, with Claire's infectious laughter ringing in her ears and Alex's steady presence beside her? She blinked away her apprehension. Instead of fear, she felt a surge of purpose. What was the first step she needed to take? And in that moment, she realized that the very act of standing up to speak, to fight, and to inspire was an act of bravery that had the power to create ripples far beyond her own life. But as she looked around the sea of faces eager for change, a question echoed louder in her mind: how would she turn that ambition into action? Was she prepared to face the reality of what that would demand of her? The energy inside the room pulsated with renewed vibrancy as Karen returned from the quiet of the night. It felt as if she carried the stars in her eyes, the cool breeze still swirling through her thoughts. She could sense the excitement hanging in the air, a tangible buzz that urged her forward. Claire was already scribbling ideas on a large whiteboard, her enthusiasm both infectious and motivating. What if we created a community board? A space where families can share their stories and struggles. You could facilitate group discussions, yes. Karen interrupted, her heartbeat quickening. And workshops for the kids. We could do sessions on coping skills, self-expression, things that really matter to them. Alex beamed at her, pride swelling in his chest. See? You're already brainstorming. This is exactly what they need, a voice that understands their pain and a way to connect. More people began to gather around them, the excitement building as Karen's idea took shape. Each voice added to the conversation, layers of thoughts blending into the vision that was starting to come alive. But deep down, doubt lingered, like a shadow threatening to dim the light. What if I mess up? She finally confessed, her voice a whisper amidst the growing murmurs of brainstorming. What if I can't handle it? Every great idea starts with a risk, Claire replied gently. You're not alone in this. We're here with you. The warmth of her friend's support felt like a shield, wrapping around her worries. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, she was capable of leading this initiative. The night wore on, and the more they talked, the more her fear receded. By the time they wrapped up for the night, Karen felt a shift within herself. There was a heaviness in her chest that had begun to lift. She glanced at Alex, who caught her eye and smiled reassuringly. Okay, she said, determination flooding her voice. Let us set a date for our first meeting. We'll reach out to the schools and get the word out. Cheers erupted in the room as enthusiasm ignited once more. Karen felt buoyed by the collective spirit, as if their dreams were woven together in a tapestry of hope. But beneath it all laid a flicker of uncertainty she couldn't shake. Later that night, sitting alone on her couch, she stared blankly at the wall. The weight of what she had committed to began to crush her spirit again. She thought about the families, the children who might look to her for guidance. What would happen if it didn't go as she envisioned? The fear of disappointing them twisted in her stomach. Just as she was about to succumb to her worries, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Claire. Remember, even the smallest pebble can create ripples in a pond. Believe in the change you want to see. Karen smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. Those words lit a fire within her she thought extinguished. She jumped up, inspiration steadily taking hold. Ideas raced through her mind: how to approach local businesses for support, how to rally volunteers, how to truly make a difference. As dawn broke, she crafted an outline for their first meeting, her heart full of scrolling thoughts, each one more positive and bold than the last. It didn't matter how long it would take, she would embrace the journey, each step one closer to creating a haven for families like hers. But just when she thought she had the plan figured out, an unexpected notification pinged on her phone. A message from a local business leader she admired. The words blurred together, but one phrase stood out like a beacon: I want to help you make this happen. Who was this person, and why did they want to lend their support? The questions flooded in, propelling her excitement. What could this mean for her plans? As she stared at the screen, her breath caught in her throat. The path ahead looked clearer than ever, but what kind of journey was unfolding before her? Karen felt a rush of adrenaline coursing through her veins. The simple words on the screen ignited a whirlwind of possibilities in her mind. I want to help you make this happen. Who was this local business leader? What could their involvement mean for her community initiative? Her curiosity overwhelmed her, and she quickly typed a response. Thank you so much. I'd love to discuss ideas and how we can collaborate. When can we meet? As she hit send, she felt a surge of hope. This could be the turning point she needed. Her phone buzzed almost immediately, and her heart raced as she read the reply. How about lunch tomorrow? I'd love to hear more about your vision. Tomorrow. It felt both thrilling and daunting. She spent the rest of the day in a blur. Thoughts ricocheted in her mind, and she couldn't settle. The outline for the meeting still lay half-finished on her desk. Focus, Karen, she whispered to herself as she paced back and forth in her tiny living room. But how could she concentrate on plans when she was about to meet someone who could change everything? Later that evening, she prepared for the meeting with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. She wanted to make a good impression. Was it too bold to prepare a presentation? Or maybe she should just go in and speak from the heart. The latter seemed more genuine, yet the stakes felt higher than ever. Sleep eluded her that night, each tick of the clock echoing her racing thoughts. She barely touched her breakfast in the morning. Instead, she repeatedly rehearsed the key points she wanted to cover during lunch. When Karen arrived at the cafe, her heart pounded in her chest. A soft jazz melody filled the air, but it offered no comfort. Her eyes scanned the room, waiting for the person who had reached out to her. Moments later, a tall figure entered, sharp suit, a purposeful stride. He spotted her and approached with a warm smile. Karen, I'm Michael. It's great to finally meet you. He extended his hand, and she shook it, feeling the heat of his energy. Same here, Michael. Thank you for coming. They settled in, and as she began to share her vision for the community initiative, Michael listened intently. The initial chatter morphed into a deep discussion about challenges families face. Her confidence slowly built with his supportive nods and insightful questions. This is exactly what our community needs, he said, leaning forward. But how can I help? The question pulled her from her narrative. Here was a man willing to amplify her vision, to invest in her dream. She shared her plan for workshops, community boards, and collaborative events. The momentum surged with every word she spoke. Imagine having local businesses sponsor events or provide resources, he suggested. We could even connect with schools to integrate these workshops into their after-school programs. Her heart soared. The possibilities were endless. They talked for hours, brainstorming ideas that could elevate her project to unexpected heights. She never imagined discussing funding, partnerships, or outreach strategies over cups of coffee. Finally, as their meeting concluded, Michael leaned back, a thoughtful look on his face. "I believe in this, Karen. Let us make this happen together. I'll get my team involved." Her eyes widened, a mixture of joy and disbelief swirling inside her. "Wow, really?" "Yes. Let us set a timeline and start actioning it. You have something special here, and I want to be part of it." They exchanged numbers and agreed to reconvene next week. As she stepped outside, sunlight kissed her cheeks, and she felt a renewed energy washing over her. What had started as a flicker of an idea was now igniting into something significant, but just as excitement bubbled within, worries crept back. Could she handle this? What if she failed under the pressure of such support? The path ahead was clearer, true, but uncertainty lingered. As she walked down the street, her phone buzzed again. A text from Claire: "I can't wait to hear about your meeting. You're on fire." Karen smiled, but a deeper question gnawed at her. This was just the beginning, and with it came the weight of expectations both from others and herself. What would happen when the pressure mounted? As she found her way home, a thought crossed her mind: how did she navigate the tension between aspiration and fear? She wondered if she was truly ready for the journey ahead. The following days turned into a whirlwind of energy and nerves for Karen. Every time she opened her email, her heartbeat quickened, anticipating an update from Michael about their plans. The weight of expectation loomed over her, but she clung to the thrill of possibilities. The moment she stepped onto the stage of her dreams felt closer than ever. One afternoon, sitting in her small office filled with sketches and notes, she couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. Faint sunlight streamed through the window, and for a moment, she shut her eyes, letting the warmth wash over her. What was she afraid of? Failure? Disappointment? Yet at the same time, familiar images surfaced in her mind: families gathering at workshops, children laughing and learning about community, neighbors linked by shared experiences. Suddenly, the phone buzzed on her desk, breaking the peaceful moment. It was Michael. "Karen. I'd like to come by your office tomorrow. How does 10 a.m. sound?" Her stomach fluttered. "Yes, definitely." She typed back, her fingers shaking on the screen. This would be their first formal meeting since their lunch rendezvous. The pressure to deliver on her vision doubled with his enthusiasm. That night, fear crept in again as she tried to sleep. What if she couldn't bring her ideas to life? What if, despite all her hard work, she fell short? She sat up in bed and stared at the ceiling, overwhelmed. Deep breath, she thought. You owe it to yourself to show up as your best self. Get up and do the work. The next morning, her office buzzed with activity as she prepared for Michael's visit. Each project detail needed polishing, but the nervous energy was palpable. She took a few moments to compose herself in front of the mirror, whispering affirmations. You are capable. You can inspire change. When Michael walked into her office, he was armed with a notepad and a head full of ideas. Seeing him so focused fueled her courage. Great to see you, Michael. You too, Karen. I've been thinking about what we discussed. I brought some ideas for partnerships. Let us make this happen. His enthusiasm was contagious. As they dove into brainstorming, she found herself more at ease. His presence felt empowering. Together, they exchanged ideas and strategies, laughing at shared anecdotes about previous community events. Let us kick off with a local festival, he suggested, leaning forward. It can honor businesses while showcasing your initiative. It's not just about teaching, it's about building community pride. Yes. Karen exclaimed, her excitement spilling over. We can include workshops, local art, and food. It'll be a great way for families to come together. They scribbled notes back and forth, generating momentum that felt electric. For the first time, the thought of failing faded into the background. In its place emerged something vital, a sense of purpose, a clear vision of what they could achieve together. As they wrapped up, Michael looked at her with a gleam in his eyes. "You're onto something special, Karen. I believe in this, and I'm all in. I'll present our plan to my team next week. Let us make some waves." She felt buoyant, floating above the day-to-day struggles that had once clouded her vision. "Thank you, Michael, for believing in me." A moment of silence hung between them, filled with shared hopes and unspoken dreams. Then Michael's phone buzzed, and he looked at the screen, a slight frown crossing his face. "I have to take this call. But don't go anywhere, we need to keep this momentum going." Karen nodded, although the excitement bubbling inside her shifted to a tiny knot of anxiety. She watched him step outside, a sudden wave of uncertainty crashing over her. What if he turned away? And just like that, the fear crept back in, mingling with the joy of progress. As she gathered her notes, she couldn't shake the feeling, a sense that something was about to change, but would it be for the better? The phone vibrated again. Claire's name flashed on the screen. "Got a question for you." Karen hesitated. With everything shifting in her life, she didn't know if she had the right answers anymore. The new dynamic with Michael could alter everything. She needed clarity before she could respond. What if her next decision changed everything forever? Karen stared at her phone, Claire's name lingering on the screen. The familiar comfort of her friend's voice had once been a source of strength, but now it felt heavy, like a weight she wasn't sure she could bear. With everything in flux, what if she misstepped? Taking a deep breath, she swiped to answer. "Hey, Claire." "Karen. I hope I'm not interrupting anything." "I wanted to check in," Claire said, her tone light but understanding. "No, not at all," Karen replied, forcing a smile even though Claire couldn't see it. "Just prepping for a meeting." "Ah, the one with that Michael guy. I remember you mentioning him. How's that going?" Expectation filled Claire's voice as she probed. It's exciting. We bounced around some great ideas. I actually think we might kick off a festival to engage the community." The words flowed out, fueled by adrenaline and hope. "That sounds incredible. You've been dreaming about this for ages. Just remember, Karen, you're not alone in this. I'm here to help however I can." The knot in Karen's stomach loosened just a bit. Claire always had a way of reassessing the bigger picture. "Thanks, I appreciate that. But I feel like everything is shifting so fast. I don't want to mess this up. Remember, it's a process, and you're doing great. You're capable of more than you give yourself credit for." Claire's encouragement danced through the phone, knitting a small patch of confidence around Karen's vulnerability. Their conversation morphed into brainstorming ideas for the festival, everything from activities to food vendors. Every suggestion sparked a flicker of excitement in Karen's heart. But then she remembered. "Actually, do you think we could set up a booth where families can donate supplies for those in need? I want this festival to be about giving back." "Absolutely. You should lead with that. It will resonate with so many in the community," Claire replied confidently. Just as they solidified their plans, Michael re-entered her office, the expression on his face darkening as he adjusted his phone. "Sorry about that. I didn't mean to take so long." "Not a problem," Karen said brightly, trying to mask her sudden unease. "Claire and I were just brainstorming ideas for the festival." "Oh, festival ideas, great. A successful event needs community buy-in. You know what would be amazing? If we could enlist some local businesses to sponsor different activities." Karen's pulse quickened. That could really help elevate the festival. The camaraderie in the room intensified. As they began to merge their ideas, the door swung open and Claire stepped in, wide-eyed, holding a vision board with sketches and snippets of inspiration. "I thought I'd join the conversation." Surprise flit across Michael's face, quickly shifting to intrigue. Nice to officially meet you. I've heard a lot about your artistic talents from Karen. Claire's cheeks flushed a pink hue, and she smiled. Thanks. I'm really excited about this. I think we can build a nice visual presence for the festival. The trio began constructing the framework of what could become a transformative event for their community, sharing laughter, excitement, and unyielding energy. As the hours flew by, Karen felt the remnants of doubt give way to determination. Yet a tiny flicker of apprehension remained. Was she really prepared for this level of commitment? Could she truly balance motherhood, work, and this dream of hers? Amidst the conversations, her phone vibrated again. This time, it was an unknown number. Curiosity tugged at her, but time was fleeting. The tension hummed in the air, begging to be addressed. Are we really about to do this? She thought as she gulped down uncertainty, her heart pounding with possibility. Michael glanced at her, momentarily puzzled by her distraction. Everything okay? Yeah, she replied, though the flutter in her chest returned with a vengeance. She needed to know what that call was about. Her life could pivot dramatically, and the weight of choice was heavy. What awaited her on the other end of that call? Would it be the opportunity she needed, or would it unravel everything she was trying to build? The next few moments felt eternal as Karen wrestled with her thoughts. The possibilities swirled around her, mingling with the excitement of the brainstorming session. She broke free from the mental haze just in time to catch Michael's eye. Can I take a quick call? Of course. He replied, waving her off. Claire shot her a supportive smile, and Karen stepped outside, clutching her phone tightly. A tingle of anticipation danced along her spine as she pressed the phone against her ear. Hello. Hi, is this Karen Jackson? Yes, it is. This is Jenna from the Community Development Office. I received your proposal about working together on outreach for families in need. Her heart skipped a beat. This was at the moment she had been waiting for. Yes. Yes. I'm so glad you called. Jenna's warm voice filled her with anticipation. We're excited about this initiative. The community really needs positive change, and we want to help. Can we set up a meeting to brainstorm more ways to collaborate? Yes. I'd love that. When can you meet? Is tomorrow at 10 a.m. good for you? Yes, that works perfectly. As she hung up, elation washed over her like a rush of sweet relief. Things were aligning, the universe conspiring in her favor. When she returned to the room, Michael and Claire were deep in discussion, and the energy felt vibrant. She couldn't contain her excitement as she shared the news. I just got off the phone with the Community Development Office. They want to meet to discuss collaborating on the festival. Claire leaped up, fists pumping in the air. That's amazing. This is going to be huge, Karen. Michael's face lit up with pride, and he nodded. Absolutely. This is the kind of momentum we need. Suddenly, doubt crept back in like an uninvited guest. But what if I can't pull this off? What if I'm just a single mom with big dreams? No, Claire interjected, stepping closer. You're a powerful voice in the community. You're inspiring change. You won't just be a single mom, you'll be an advocate. The reassurance wrapped around Karen, bolstering her resolve. She thought of her children, their laughter, their dreams. In her heart, she knew she had to fight for every family who felt unseen. Days turned into weeks as planning for the festival progressed. The trio worked tirelessly, gathering community leaders, local businesses, and families to join their cause. Karen felt like she was breathing life into a dream, and every new connection fueled her spirit. On the day of the festival, the sun shone brightly, casting warmth over the crowd all gathered in a vibrant park filled with laughter, food, and music. Children dashed about, faces painted with joy. Families wandered from booth to booth, exploring resources, and sharing their stories. Karen stood at the entrance, her heart swelling as she took in the scene. Look at all this! Claire exclaimed, her excitement palpable. Michael approached, sporting a grin that mirrored her own. "You did it, Karen. You brought the community together." As the day unfolded, Karen found herself surrounded by smiling faces, people who shared their gratitude, hopes, and dreams. "It's amazing to feel connected," she heard one mother say. "You made this space for us." What swelled in Karen was a feeling she had yearned for, the knowledge that she was part of something bigger than herself. The whispers of doubt faded, replaced by an unshakable sense of worthiness. As the event wound down, Karen stepped onto the small stage set up at the center. She looked out at the crowd, all the faces radiating warmth. Her heart pounded wildly, but this time it felt invigorating. "Thank you all for being here today. This isn't just a festival, it's a start. Together, we've created a place where our stories matter. Together, we can lift each other up." The crowd erupted into applause, and in that moment, she felt like she belonged. As she looked into the eyes of those around her, she knew she had overcome not only her own struggles but had also forged a path of empowerment for others. This was who she was: a fighter, a leader, a community builder. Later that evening, Karen sat under the stars, a peaceful glow enveloping her spirit. Lily and Noah nestled beside her, their small bodies radiating warmth against her. "Mom," Noah said, looking up with wide eyes. "Are we going to do more fun things?" "Absolutely," Karen replied, her heart full. "This is just the beginning." In that moment, she realized that she no longer felt burdened by the title of single mom. Instead, she wore it with pride, knowing it was just one chapter of her ongoing story, one filled with determination, love, and an unwavering commitment to make a difference. And as she hugged her children tightly, she knew her journey was just taking flight. Karen had found her voice, and nothing felt more powerful than embracing who she had become. This was her moment. Now, it's your moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support more uplifting narratives. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring journey. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support, and don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand how important these actions are.